Mizuki just nodded his head. The clan kids had given him a good workout, and he didn't really want to go up against Naruto, and Hinata had left him feeling sore for her attacks. "All right, Kit, no holding back," said Kurama with a smirk. Naruto nodded his head to the man. "All right, Rama," he said with his own foxy grin. Both vanished before everyone as their fist met as they stood in the middle of the ring. Iruka and Mizuki watched with wide eyes. They had moved so quickly they couldn't even follow their movement. "This might be a little harder than I first thought. Sasuke will be putting up a good fight if I try taking him in Naruto. I don't even want to try to get that boy," he thought to himself with fear in his eyes. 5 minutes later, as the buzzer went off, Naruto went flying out 2 seconds later, hitting the tree behind him. Iruka ran over to the boy, making sure he was okay. "Naruto, are you all right?" he asked. Naruto jumped back up and ran at Kurama, ready to keep fighting, but stopped when Kurama held up his hand, stopping the boy in his tracks. "That is enough, and answer your sensei's question," said Kurama as he smirked, seeing the boy was ticked off and wanting to keep going. But he nodded his head and turned to look at Iruka. "Yeah, sensei, I'm all right," he told the man before him. Iruka just looked at the ebony hair boy with shock and fear in his eyes. "Are you sure you don't need to see the nurse or something?" he questions once more as he walked over to the boy. "Yeah, sensei, I'm all right. This was nothing. Sparring at home is a lot worse than what you saw here today. Kurama-sensei was going very easy on me," said Naruto as he gave his teacher a foxy grin. All Iruka could do was nod his head along with Mizuki, as his plans have totally been derailed from what he just witnesses at this moment. Kurama turned to Iruka with his own foxy grins. "If you like, I can finish the sparring part of the exam with the Uchiha boy and Yamanaka girl," he offered the stunned man. "Are you sure about that, Kurama-sama?" asked Iruka as he had the look of fear in his eyes. "Yeah, it will be fine. I have already sparred with them in the past, so they know what to expect from me," explained Kurama as Sasuke walked into the sparring ring. "Kurama-sensei, just remember, I'm not like you and the dope, so don't try to kill me," said Sasuke as he looked annoyed over at his friend and back at the crazed redhead before him. Kurama gave him a dismissive wave as he got ready to push the boy and see where his standing was. For it has been 6 months since he could get the boy to spar with him. For last time, he almost broke the boy in half last time with just a gentle axe kick. Gentle to Kurama was the term like a bull in a china shop. "All right, you two, go," said Iruka with fear in his voice. Both fighters studied each other as Sasuke made the first move. Sasuke tried a spinning axe kick as he launched himself up in the air. He was trying to use the sun to blind Kurama. But this boy was sadly wrong as Kurama grabbed his leg and spun him to the tree that was in the ring. Sasuke's boy slammed hard as spit and blood came out of his mouth as he slowly pushed himself up off the ground, as he wiped his mouth with his right arm and spit out whatever blood that was lingering in his mouth, and glared at Kurama. "Bastard, you're having fun toying with me," growled out Sasuke as he glared at the tall man. Kurama just chuckled at this. "Who's to say I was or not?" he told the boy. Sasuke's fan club screamed and yelled at the man. "You cheater! You're trying to hurt out Sasuke-kun." They kept screaming until they began fighting with each other over who the boy belongs to. Sasuke looked at the girls with fear as he looked over at Kurama with a look. "Please just kill me now," he had in his eyes. Iruka saw this and shook his head at the boy. Sasuke also saw this but just sighed, slowly nodding his head. Yeah, he couldn't take the easy way out. He really needs a girlfriend or something. Maybe then they would leave him alone. But hell, who was he kidding? That would never happen. The fight went on and Sasuke lasted the full 5 minutes. But he was limping out of the ring. or Kurama wasn't going to allow the boy to get away unhurt. Ino smiled at Kurama. He knew that smile, and he would have to move quick before she tried entering his mind again. She has tried several times, but luckily, he always got away from her. "Don't you even think about little girl," he growled out at her as his eyes flashed, giving her a warning. Ino swallowed hard and nodded her head. Iruka looked at them both puzzled and voiced himself. "What is going on here? I was planning to take over his mind, but I haven't been able yet. But he has warned me if I try and I do get in, he will lead me to the pits of hell and scare me to death," said Ino as she looked away. Iruka just nodded his head. "Okay, you two. Go," he told them. Ino went in with a reverse spin kick to Kurama's head, but he caught her leg and pushed her away as she went spinning to the other side of the field. Ino smirked as she ran at him with a raised fist, which Kurama caught with his left hand as he held her right hand. "You're getting better, little girl, but you still have a lot more to work on. I think you will need to come and spar with Trixie after you are placed on your team," he told her. "Yeah, I saw Trixie this morning, and she told me the same thing. She even said bring Shika with me as well, for she kept saying that the future wife of Naruto needs to be able to fight like a demon to protect herself and their future children," said Ino with a wink and a smirk at her two friends, who were both blushing up a storm and looking away from each other as their group of friends laughing at the two young lovebirds. Kurama just smirked at this. "That is true. Shikos need to get stronger," he said as he winked at Shika. Naruto grumbled to himself, "Iro Kitsune," looking away as he blushed even brighter. The fight finished with Ino flying out as the buzzer went off. She was caught by Naruto as he glared at Kurama. "Man, you know you need to go easier on the girls, or I'm telling Maze on you again." Kurama just rolled his eyes as he walked over to the tree and sat down. Iruka cleared his throat and looked everyone over and smiled. "Well done, everyone. Let's go inside to finish the last part with the ninjutsus," he ordered them in. Everyone went back inside as Kurama returned to his nap and ignored his jailer yelling at him mentally. "Jerk, why did you have to put us in the spotlight? You do know my fan club is going to go after her now. I don't want one of my friends hurt because of those crazy girls and several guys." Naruto was always scared after he found out guys even wanted him. That wasn't his cup of tea. Maybe he could send them to Sasuke, or no one knows if he likes girls or boys. After they all entered the classroom and took their seats, Iruka went down the list and Naruto just closed his eyes for a nap as he knew he was going to be next to last for this part and didn't care to listen. But he awoke from time to time as he heard one of his or Sasuke's fan club members coming out crying for they didn't pass, or when one would scream and yell about the power of love that they are meant for one of the two boys. Both boys knew they just wanted to keep the hell away from those crazed girls. Boys scared them. True stalkers and the little pieces of paper they had severed on many of them have proved to do little to nothing to save them. Maybe now, with them becoming shinobi, there was more laws on stalkers to help keep them safe. They could only hope. It was finally Naruto's turn as he walked into the classroom as he could feel someone pumping charka his way. Kurama opened a lazy eye and smirked as he was going to fuck with this white hair man. Kurama pumped his charka back into Mizuki, locking him in a hellfire inferno genjutsu, making the man screaming from his seat next to Iruka. Iruka looked at Mizuki, puzzled as to what the hell was going on. Mizuki fell to the ground, foaming at the mouth, for Kurama had locked him into the genjutsu. Iruka looked on with fear. "I think the sun must have gotten to him or something," said Naruto as he created 2 shadow clones to take the man to the nurse's office. Kurama smirked, making sure none of this would never come back on Naruto. Only that Mizuki had a mental snap, and all the stuff he had planned was pushed forward, for when a Yamanaka would mind walk him to find why he snapped. He made it look like something like a timed trigger from Arakamaru. That is what the bastard gets. said Kurama as he opened his eye from his shady tree. Iruka was shocked that Naruto could make the solid clones. When did you learn the shadow clone Naruto? He questions. Auntie Maze taught me after she checked my chakra levels, and at the time I was already at high Jonin. But now I'm at Kage or Sannin levels now. So, I will never be able to form the normal clone we learn here. Explain Naruto. Oh well. Okay, you pass on that one. Now the other two, said Iruka. Naruto replayed himself with Kurama, who was annoyed that he lost the warm sun on his face and cool breeze in his hair. Then Naruto appeared next to him and made himself look like his father. Well done. You pass, said Iruka as he handed Naruto his forehead protector. Naruto smirked as he showed it to Kurama, who patted the boy on his head as Naruto went back to the classroom and tried it to his left bicep and sat down next to Shika as Kurama just smirked even more. After everyone had finished with their exam, Iruka walked back into the room and looked at everyone. For all of you who passed, I will see you here tomorrow morning for team assignment, he told them as everyone got up and left. All the clan heirs ran up to their families, showing them they had passed, and the civilian parents just glared at Naruto for many different things. Some, for he wouldn't give their daughters the time of day, and others who found out what was inside of Naruto. But mostly for the latter, for the boy was going to hold a lot of power once he came to age, and as he was royalty because of his mother being the princess of the land of Wave and his father being Hokage. He was the prince of the village. Hokage office. Both Trixie and Maze smirked as they saw their boy had passed, and with flying colors. Looks like our boy got Rookie of the Year for that little move, said Maze to Trixie, who just nodded her head and giggled. What do you all think of your future students? Said Sarutobi as he took a poof of his pipe. Maze smirked. If I get the team I want, then they did very well, she told the old man before her. Yeah. I just want to be the co-captain with Maze, for I know she is like Anko, who needs to have fun in tea or on missions, said Trixie as she giggled. Anko, who was behind the girl, just grinned. What can I saw? It's always more fun with Maze, she said with a wink to Maze. Maze just grinned, and all the men drooled at the two women and stepped away in fear as well, for they never knew if the two were dating or just having fun with them, and then attack them when they don't even know what was going on around them. Dropping your guard with those two was very deadly. Kakashi glares at Maze. I want Naruto and Sasuke, he growled out at the man. She blew him a kiss. Not on your life, buddy. They will be mine, she told him with an evil glint in her eyes. Kakashi looked over at the Hokage, hoping for some type of help from their leader. I'm sorry, Kakashi, but you will not be getting Naruto, for it was a deal I worked out with Maze and Kurama. They both wanted family with the boy, and they believe you would favor Sasuke more for the promise you made his late brother, said Sarutobi as he sighed. But, Hokage-sama, I wouldn't do that. Naruto was my sensei's son, and it should be me training him, Kakashi whined. Hell no, said Maze as she glared at him. He is my nephew, and you would be too damn lazy to train him right. You're always late and never take anything serious when it comes to training and other things, and that is something we are unable to allow to happen, she told him as Kakashi was in the corner sulking in the corner, drawing small circles on the floor, as everyone looked on with shock. No one has ever talked to him in that way, until today. After that tongue lashing that was given to Kakashi, all the future senseis left the office, looking over the files of their students and hopeful future genin of their village. Hell. Lucifer sighed as he saw his son passed. And what happened with Mizuki? That bastard really tried, didn't he? He asked his wife as Kushina is having fun stabbing Danzo repeatedly. Danzo screamed in pain as he glazed at the King of Hell. You bastard! I knew there was something wrong with you, said Danzo between screams as he is panting. You damn woman. I always knew you were a demon, he told Kushina. But Kushina smirked at him as white angelic wings came from her back. To be truthful, I am an angel. But I wanted to stay with the man I love and married those years ago, she told Danzo as his single eye widened with horror at the sight before him. Are you going to tell me now what happens you had with Orochimaru and Madara? Questioned Lucifer as he looked away from his son and his friends. What do you care what happens to that god-forsaken village? You're here in hell, said Danzo as he glared. Lucifer smirked at the old Cyclops. It matters to me for my son is in that village, and I do hold a little love for it, he said as Kushina smirked as she stabbed the man once more. Orochimaru wants to bath the village in hellfire so it can be remade in my image of what a shinobi should truly be, said Danzo as he smirked to himself. Lucifer just laughs. Do you honestly believe he would allow you to rule over a village he burns to the ground, probably killing all that live in the village, and those that you had hidden in your root bases wouldn't had been enough to rebuild the ruins of that village, he told the old fool. Danzo looked at him with shock. Would Orochimaru double-cross him? Kushina looked at him with a knowing look. You know he would have. How foolish were you? Were you so drunk in your self-claim power? He questions him. Danzo never said a word, just glaring at the two before him. You damn old fool. I can't believe you bought in on that damn snake's lies, said Lucifer as he slammed his fist on his desk. This made Danzo jump a little, for he wasn't this reaction from the man before him. Kushina walked over to her love and placed her hand on his shoulder. It will all be fine. Just send the hellhounds to Sakumo with a message about the attack during the Chunin exams, and how the Suna are foolishly taking part with Oto, said Kushina as she looked at Danzo as he turned away from them. He knew he failed. His lust for the hat had led him to the downfall of his home, the place he said he would protect from anything and anyone. For he had done down a very dark path that day, Sarutobi, who was chosen to be Hokage by their sensei. You damn old fool, you have no idea what you have done to that village. You have claimed to love. Oh, so much. You have doomed them. I only hope this message gets to them soon, and the old man listens to Sakumo, said Lucifer, as he was growing tired of all this bullshit. I do not know nothing about Madara. The one you would need to speak with would be Orochimaru, for he was part of that little fan club that is hunting for all the tail beast, said Danzo, for he knew he had already given them everything he knew, and was no use to them anymore. So, he believed. Tell me the plan of entry that damn snake and his men would be taking to get in, said Lucifer. He wanted to know everything he could get. Anything to keep his son safe, any way he can from hell. Danzo looked at him with shock. How do you know I even know anything about his plan of attack? He asked. Lucifer looked at him as if he was a moron. Come on, Danzo. Do you take me for a fool? I know you know how he was going to get in and his plan of attack. Danzo sighed and began telling Lucifer everything as a demon wrote it all down. After Danzo was finished, another demon came and took him away as Lucifer ordered for that information to be sent to Sakumo, and as soon as possible. Sakumo sat in the backyard in one of the mini gardens. He was quietly meditating, mixing his chakra with his demonic energy. This would make his attack much deadlier, and he shifts to only take less than a second to happen. But he was pulled from his meditation as his hellhound, Ruby, came running to him. She held a scroll in her mouth, and he saw Lucifer's seal on it. So he knew something big was going to be happening for Ruby to be in a solid form from her shadow form. What does he send me, girl? Sakumo asked her. Ruby dropped the scroll before her masters. Master has information on that snake? He will be attacked in about 6 or 7 months from now. In that Chunin exam thing they hold here every so often, she informed him. Sakumo nodded his head as he stood up and opened the scroll. He wanted to make sure there wasn't anything in there just for him before he would go to the Hokage and Jonin commander and drag in on this information. He saw nothing for him, and how one of his spies caught one of Danzo's men. And he sang like a bird, for the cursed seal on his tongue was now gone. Quickly getting to his feet, Sakumo walked back to the main house and grabbed his Jonin vest and put it on and out the door where he saw Maze and Trixie coming his way. They both saw the scroll in his head. They both knew Lucifer had sent a message, and for Sakumo to be leaving the compound it was something dealing with the village. They both figured that Danzo must have finally sang and told them everything about the snake in Madara. There isn't anything about Madara. The old mummy knew nothing about him, said Sakumo as he shook his head and walked past the two. He made a beeline to the tower where he saw Naruto and Sasuke both running away from their fan clubs. But the girls' boys appeared to be foaming at the mouth as they chased them. Naruto saw his uncle and ran to the werewolf demon and hid behind the man as Sasuke followed suit. Please save us. They have gone mad, for they didn't make it into the shinobi program, cried Naruto as Kurama was sitting on a rooftop laughing his ass off at the scene before him. Sakumo shook his head at what was happening before him. The rabid teens before him. You best be heading home, for you wouldn't like me when I'm mad, he said as his eyes flashed amber. But they didn't care. They wanted their prizes, and this man wouldn't be standing in their way. Several made the mistake of attacking Sakumo as he transformed into his werewolf form. He let out a blood-chilling howl. This stopped the rabid teens in their spots, finally snapping out of whatever trance they had been in. Before them was a huge demon beast. Many screamed and ran away as others wept and shat themselves as they passed out where they stood. Anbu appeared and wrinkled their noses behind their masks. Really? You had to scare them this bad? Asked Nico as she looked at the werewolf shifting shinobi before her. Sakumo shrugged his shoulders at the woman. They were going after the boys again, and I feared they might hurt them this time, he said as he took a step to the left to show Naruto and Sasuke all wide-eyed with fear. Neko looked at the two boys and those that were passed out on the ground and back at the frightened boys and let out a sigh. I'll let it slide this one time, she told them as the other took their respected teenager and returned them back to their homes, giving the parents a warning about their children need to stop their stalking of two of Leaf's newest genin. Naruto looked up at his uncle finally being snapped out of his fear. Thank you for saving us again, he said sheepishly. Sasuke nodded his head in agreement. You two need to learn to frighten them away or something. Maybe get some girlfriends or something, said Sakumo as he looked at the two teens. Sasuke smirked at the man before him. Naruto already has a girlfriend, he said with a laugh. Shut up, teenie, said Naruto with a stutter. Sakumo raised an eyebrow to this, and Anke Kurama appeared before the man. His little girlfriend is Shikamaru Nara, he said with a huge shit-eating grin on his face. Naruto glared at him with murder in his eyes. He mumbled to himself as this made Kurama laugh harder along with Sakumo. She's very smart. I don't know what she sees in this little shit, said Sakumo as he laughs harder as Naruto's eyes widened in shock and then turned to anger at the man before him. You know you two are jackasses, said Naruto as he turned and walked away. Or more like stomped away from the two laughing men. Sasuke just smirks and runs after his friend. So, Ruby brought you something important? Asked Kurama as he eyed the scroll in the man's hand. Yeah, but it is mostly on that damn snake. Nothing on the other bastard, said Sakumo as Kurama nodded his head to this. Alright then, I'll leave you to your mission and go watch over the boys, said Kurama as he goes up in flames. Sakumo just smirks and finally makes his way to the tower, where he saw Shikaku walking into the building. He ran up to the man. "A man that I was hoping to find," he said to Shikaku. Said Nara looked over at the man next to him, lazily raising an eyebrow at him. "Why would you want to be looking for me?" he questions as he stopped the scroll in the man's hand and let out a long and lazy sigh. "You got word on something that will impact the village and has put Jiraiya's own spy network to shame," he said as they both made their way up the stairs to the Hokage's office. Sarutobi sighed as he glared at his paperwork. Part of him wanted to set it on fire. But soon his replacement would be ready, and then he would be done with this, all. He was pulled his muse as there was a knock at his door. "Come in," he called to whoever was on the other side. In walked both Sakumo and Shikaku. He raises any eyebrow to this. "What brings you two here?" he asked them. "I just got word from my summons Ruby from my spy network, and I believe Dragon should be here for this," said Sakumo as Dragon appeared right next to them. "What do you have for us?" asked Dragon. "We don't own Lucifer or Naruto. Thank you for the likes and follows." Chapter 6. Hokage. Sakumo moved into the Hokage's office and took a seat in one of the armchairs before the old man's desk. Shikaku followed after the man, not sure what was waiting them from what the man next to him had to say. Dragon went and stood next to the aged leader. "I got something here that you might not like. There were a few of Danzo's little roots left out in the world," said Sakumo as he handed the scroll over to Sarutobi as the old man took it and looked at the strange broken seal on it. He raised an eyebrow as he looked back at Sakumo. "So, your network has outdone Jiraiya's once more?" asked Sarutobi as he sighed and unrolled the scroll and began reading it. One could only laugh at all the reactions run across his face as Dragon read over his shoulder. Once he was done, he handed it over to Shikaku to read, and he had a look of horror on his lazy face. "So, what you have here is true. Then Danzo was truly a traitor, and has been working with my traitor of a student for a very long time. For it also talks about how he wanted to put sleepers in the clans with the clan head's children. But I will have Inoichi and Jiraiya look for any seals and triggers once more," said Sarutobi as he appeared to have aged another 30 years before them. "Yeah, that would be a good idea. But I don't think he ever got around to doing that to the children for that night. We attacked him," said Sakumo with a wolfish grin on his face. "I do believe you are right, but it is good to just double-check to be safe," said Sarutobi as he just wanted to bash his head against his desk 1,000,000 times over. "With this new development, we are going to up the training of all the new genin teams," said Shikaku as his lazy gaze looked at the other men in the office. "As well, we will have to up the training of the shinobi and Anbu of this village. We will not fall to that snake bastard and our allies that are siding with him," said Dragon, as he looked over at everyone. "Well, I know how to fix what's going on with Suna, for their lord has been sending their missions to us. For he isn't too pleased with Raza for what he did to his sister," said Sarutobi as he looked up at Dragon. "If we redirect those missions back to their village, that could help some and maybe stop them from siding with Orochimaru. But that isn't a 100% guarantee though," said Shikaku. "He is right. Also, that would tip our hand that we know something is up, and the snake could move on us before we are ready," said Sakumo. "What we need to do is act as if we are in the dark, and maybe from time to time redirect a mission or two to them stating we would need their aid on it," he suggested as he looked at the other men as they nodded their heads. "That would work. Also, while we do that, we can sway them from siding with him and maybe even stepping back and aiding us," said Sarutobi, sounding hopeful. Even though he was a veteran of 2 of the 3 shinobi wars, he still held on to hope. "Only time will tell," said Sakumo. Team placement. It was the day that all the young genin hopeful had been waiting for. Naruto had gotten up early that morning for his normal morning training with his family. Trixie was standing in the kitchen looking outside as he watched Tsukumo and Maze, Spar and Kurama just laid in a tree watching them. Naruto walked down the stairs and into the kitchen as he found his aunt. But the three angels had been sent off on missions for the village. "Good morning, Auntie Trixie," said Naruto as he smiled at her. Trixie turned around and smiled at the boy. "Good morning, Naru-chan. Are you ready for today?" she asked him. "Yeah, I'm hoping I get a good team and a sensei that will teach me. Or I kept hearing that Kakashi wanted me as his student, and what I heard around from others, he is always late for everything," said Naruto. Trixie nodded her head. "Yeah, he did. But Maze wouldn't hear of it, and would have gutted him if he was your sensei, and didn't teach you anything as well, was late for all your training. She told him, anyways, Sasuke is stuck with him, so don't worry," she told him with a smirk. Naruto laughed. "Better the team than me." He grinned as he made his way outside. He would eat something after training. For how hard they push him during their morning training, he would mostly get sick, and that wasn't something he was in the mood of reliving at the moment. Shinobi Academy. Everyone made their way into their classroom for one final time. All the fangirls boys watched their two princes walk by them. Naruto took his seat in the far back last row, as Sasuke took his normal seat in the middle row next to the window. After a while, everyone filed in and chatter could be heard. Ino was sitting on Naruto's desk looking down at her fellow blonde. "So what team do you think you'll be on?" she asked him. He looked up at her. "I'm not sure. All I know for now, it isn't going to be with Sasuke, for he got a sucky sensei." Naruto snickered at that part. Ino, Shikamaru, and Choji arched an eyebrow at this as Hinata looked over at him. "How do you know that?" asked Ino, wanted this little bit of gossip. "My Auntie Trixie told me," said Naruto with a grin. Just before Ino could laugh, and anyone else could say anything, Iruka walked into the classroom. "All right, people sit down and listen up. I have your team placements," said Iruka as Naruto spaced out. "It isn't too bad, brat, you have Maze and Trixie as your Jonin senseis and Shikamaru and Ino as your teammates," said Kurama as he was looking in the classroom window from his tree branch. "Yeah, I know. But I am shocked they gave me two girl teammates. But they both did tie for top kunoichi of the year, followed by Sakura. And I know she's going to be teamed with Sasuke, and I think it was Kiba who had the lowest of the grades, making him the dead last of our year. His mother is going to kill him for that." Naruto laughed to himself. "Team 7 will be Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, Kiba and Uzuka with Akamaru. Your Jonin sensei with Kakashi Hatake," said Iruka. "Yeah, baby, the power of love. In your face, Ino pig," bellowed Sakura as she was jumping around. Both Kiba and Sasuke looked to be crying to have the loud banish on their team. The worthless, useless fangirl. "That will be enough, Sakura. Or I can have the Hokage change the team around," said Iruka as a demon appeared behind him. This made Sakura shut up and sit down as she looked to be scared of the man. Team 8 will be Choji Akimichi, Hinata Hyuga, and Shino Aburame. Your Jonin sensei with Kurenai Yuhi. Choji looked to be sad, for he thought he would be with his two best friends in the new generation of Ino Shika Cho. But he guessed it wasn't meant to be this time around. "I'll be okay. Choji, you have Hinata and Shino and they are really nice," said Ino as she smiled at her large friend. "Yeah, you're right," said Choji with a smile. "Final team will be Team 10, for Team 9 is still in rotation," said Iruka as he looked up at the last remaining 3 that hadn't been called on. Team 10 will be Naruto Namikaze Uzumaki, Shikamaru Nara, Ino Yamanaka, and your Jonin senseis will be Maze and Trixie Namikaze, said Iruka with a smile. "Why does the dope get 2 senseis?" asked Sasuke. Iruka looked over at Sasuke. It's because Maze also works in T, and from time to time will not have time to train her team. So her sister Trixie will step in to train them for her. He told the raven hair boy. Well, your senseis will be here shortly, so be ready to move on out, said Erica as he jumped out of the way as his classroom door exploded from a body being thrown through it. A silver hair man without his face being covered laid on his desk as he looked up to see both Maze, Trixie, and Sakumo grinning down at the down Kakashi. Boy, I hope that this lesson on being on time sticks with you, or I would be more than happy to be repeating it on a daily basis, said Sakumo as he stalked over to Kakashi as he stood over him. I know my younger brother taught you better than this. There isn't a reason to be late, and I'm sick and tired of those bullshit lines you use. If I hear from your genin you are late, and you tell them you took the long way because of a black cat, I will find that cat and ram it up your ass, he told the now even more Kakashi. Yes, sir. I will be on time, I swear, said Kakashi as he stood up and looked at the man before him with fear. Good to hear, said Sakumo as he turned to leave. He is just like my father, thought Kakashi as he stood up and looked at all the genin hopefuls with shock and fear on their faces. Team 7, you are with me, he said as he made his way for the door. Team 7 got up and followed after their sensei, not knowing what to think. Naruto, on the other hand, was laughing. He really did what he said he was going to go do to him. Ino looked at him. You knew about this, she asked him. Well, yeah, but we better go, or Maze is glaring at us, said Naruto as he got up followed by his two teammates. Chapter 7. Uchiha District. Fugaku Uchiha. With the clan elders and several others radical rebel members on their clan, meet in their secret meeting spot under the clan shrine. Fugaku-sama, are you sure it is wise to move against the village at this time? Asked one of the elders. Fugaku glared at the man. With Itachi forsaking the clan and becoming a missing ninja, what other option do we have? He questioned the same elder. Off in the shadows, Ruby and the other hellhounds laid in wait for the time would come for them to kill these fools. For them trying to overthrow the village and take over wouldn't work for her master, nor his master. She sat in her human form in the shadows holding a video camera recording everything these fools said. She was quite beautiful, with dark chocolate brown hair, dark brown eyes, and stood about 5'4" with an hourglass figure. Holly growled to Ruby. It's almost time. We just need a little more, and we can kill them, she told her fellow hellhound. Holly nodded her head and went back to watching the foolish humans. Fugaku looked at everyone in the room. The third has grown to soft with his old age. We need a leader that will build this village back up to its former glory when Madara first found it with the Senju clan. But, sir, that was during the Waring clan times. It has been over 100 years, and none of the clans or any one of the villages for that matter have been at war. Yes, we did come close with Danzo kidnapped all the heirs and tried blaming it on Kumo or another village, said a young Uchiha boy. He will be one of the first we kill, for those who question me will die, thought Fugaku. I know, and my youngest was part of the group of children kidnapped, and it was the Kami Dammit Namikaze that he was returned safety to us, he said as he looked around. But we need to bat the village in fire and brimstone to make it rise once again as the superpower in was in the past 3 wars, said Fugaku. The others nodded their heads in agreement to this madman they follow. Off in the shadows is a man with an orange spiral mask watching and laughing at his former clansmen. These fools, I'll slay them all soon. No one with this bloodline will live, he thought to himself as he vanished into a void. Ruby and Holly smelt and saw the man. Get to Lucifer and have him look for his former students in the afterlife. For that man smelt like Uchiha and something else. Something planet base, said Ruby to Holly, as the other hellhound nodded her head to her pack leader. Ruby closed the camera and stepped back into the shadows. This was all that her master need to move against those fools. In their next little meeting, they wouldn't be walking out alive. Hell. Lucifer looked over files and growled out as he was growing tired of this. He wanted to be back on Earth with his son, but his father told him his time would come. But he didn't know what he meant by that. Holly came running into his office. "Master," she called out. Lucifer looked up from his paperwork as Kushina walked into his office with tea and some cakes she had made for him. "What is it, Holly?" he asked the hellhound. "Master, I have a massage from Ruby," said Holly as she sat before her master. "She said that the orange-masked man smells of Uchiha and planet, and that to check and see if your 2 dead students are in the afterlife." She told him. This made Lucifer arch an eyebrow and stand up from his desk. Ren and Obito were his students in his life as Minato, and they both had dead, or so he had believed. "Are you sure about that?" asked Kushina as she was now worried. "Would one of his students go so far as betray us?" she questioned. Holly looked over at her mistress. "Yes, mistress, I believe they would. Or have you ever looked at the heart of an Uchiha? All those bastards want is power. Or they are planning to overthrow the village. Ruby has the village evidence and is going to be showing it to Sakumo here shortly. And if they take the village, they soon will go after the young prince for the power that is held within him. And if they find out he is half angel..." Holly trailed off, for she saw her master getting upset. "I'll meet with Death and find out what is going on and see if he has my 2 former students," said Lucifer as he stood up and stormed out of his office. Kushina just watched her husband leave and turned to the hellhound next to her. This isn't going to end very well. Holly could only nod her head in agreement. Lucifer walked down a dark and shadowy hallway that led to an old Gothic wooden door. Knocking 3 times, the door swung open. "It has been a long time, Lucifer," said a dark voice from the shadows of the dark room, with only light from candlelight. "Yes, has been a while, Death, but I think you can drop the act," said Lucifer as he looked around as the darkness faded away and the room brightened up into an old English study with Death sitting behind a large oak desk.